Hey, what's up everybody? It's Lids, and we're back for some more Gwent, and today we'll be playing more of the Irresistible Attraction seasonal event, which is an alternate game mode in which whenever someone plays a unit, they will steal a random unit from their opponent's side of the board if it has the same amount of power. That means we want to match up the power of our units with the same amount of power that our opponent's units have. Now there is one faction in this event that is practically unplayable, and for that reason, I had deliberately never tried it. But I always wondered if there was a way to make it work. And today, I give you that exact deck. So let's go check it out. So today we'll be playing the only Northern Realms Irresistible Attraction deck that I've ever seen that actually works. And the reason why Northern Realms is always horrendously awful in this event is because Northern Realms is typically the engine faction. That means units start out weak, but the longer they're on the board, the more value they create. However, in this event, that means you're playing a card that is easy for your opponent to steal, and then suddenly they are the one that gets all the benefit out of it, rather than you, making Northern Realms without a doubt the weakest faction in this event. However, with today's deck, I hope to give you Northern Realms players a fighting chance. The idea is very simple. Play as many cards with shields as we possibly can, and then at the end of the round, play King Roegner to get boosted from all of those shields. The reason why this works when other Northern Realms decks do not is because we don't care if these shields are on our side of the board or our opponent's side of the board. So that means even if our opponent steals some of our units that have shields, as long as we have Roegner, we will still be the ones that benefit. That's of course why this will be a Shieldwall deck, and then we'll use Renew in either round 2 or round 3 to play Roegner again from our graveyard. That way we can build toward the same combo twice. So I'll flip through the deck to show you what else we have, but that's really it. It's just a whole bunch of cards that either give us more shielded units, or let us play Roegner. Idarran, another one that can spawn in more of those shielded units. Roegner, of course. More shields. More ways to get cards with shields. More ways to get cards with shields. Berengar is one of our only just pure point slams, so if you're really desperate to steal one of your opponent's bigger cards, then this is a way to do it. More shields. Tons more shields, so Immortal Cavalry is the ideal card to be creating as many copies as possible of. Then Griffin Ranger is our other card that is pure point slam and does not have a shield. However, that means this is a good target for either your Shieldwall or other cards we'll see later on that can apply shields. Such as the Cintrian Artificer, or even use the Griffin Adept to transform that Griffin Ranger into another one of these shielded units. So there's a look at the deck, and overall it is extremely simple. It is all about maximizing the shields and then playing Roegner for a huge point slam at the end of the round. Then use Renew to play him again. So without further ado, let's see if this truly is the only viable Northern Realms deck in this event. Alright, so going up against monsters here. And we'll go first. Alright, so we're going first, which means we have our stratagem, so we can get Roegner that way. But we also have Oneiromancy, so we could use that as well. Let's get rid of the Megascope here. And we don't have any Witchers, so let's dump Berengar as well. And Megascope. Alright, so we don't have Roegner directly in our hand. As we were saying, that means we're going to need either Curse Scroll or Oneiromancy to get him. And I think we'd prefer to use Curse Scroll, because that way we can use Oneiromancy here to get Idarran, because we have a few ways to spawn in additional units. Alright, they'll go Predatory Dive, which will destroy Idarran. So in that case, let's just go directly into the operator here, and make some Immortal Cavalry. That way we're getting more shields on the board. They'll go Necker, in which case, let's do reinforcements here on the Immortal Cavalry, which will steal a Necker, and also steal their Immortal Cavalry. Now it's Indriga Larva, which will steal that Necker back. Let's try Runeword here. And I was hoping for the Banard Tutor, that way we would have had a 2-power unit to steal one of those cards back. But in this case, I mean, I guess we just go Cintrian Spellweaver. It is a powerful engine, so that's why I'm a little bit reluctant to use Runeword at times, because if they do steal him, he could cause problems. And they will steal him here. But we can at least potentially steal him back with the Kaedweni Cavalry. It's either that or the Fuka. We shall see. It is the Fuka, so that means they will have some damage here with that Cintrian Spellweaver. Fortunately, they use that damage on the Operator, who does not have a shield. That's fine for us. And they'll continue to use their damage on the Operator. Alright, so now let's go Kaedweni Cavalry. And this time we will steal that Cintrian Spellweaver back. Okay, so another Intriga Larva. That will actually steal our Operator. Though that's not a huge play. We are still in the lead. But I think this is where we're going to want to play Roegner. So let's use Curse Scroll. And let's get Amphibious Assault. We'll use that to play Roegner. Let's get rid of the Griffin Witcher Ranger. And then go Amphibious Assault into Roegner here. Needs to be in the melee row. We play him. Destroy all the shields. And in doing so, get a sizable boost. Alright, they'll go Rot Fiend, which will boost their Thrive units. They'll destroy it, deal some damage to us. But they are not yet in the lead. I think we pass here. It's a little dangerous that they can still catch us, because of course, they have a ton of engines on the board. But it'll take them an extra card to do so, and I think with that, they may have just barely done it. They've tied! Oh, this is interesting. Okay, they'll use their leader ability to take the lead. So that means they will take round one, they go a card down, and use both leader ability charges to do it, so I think we'll take that. Okay, so we drew into some great cards here. Round 2 of Amphibious Assault, round 2 of Oneiromancy, and also Adalia. Those are all great. Problem is, they're probably going to dry pass in round 2 because they went a card down in round 1, and all of our cards are really good, and we don't want to use them as a throwaway. So let's get rid of Immortal Cavalry, and yeah, Griffin Witcher Adept is a card I'm much more willing to sacrifice. Okay, because they do dry pass. That means we can go Griffin Witcher Adept here, and we'll be fine. Take the round 2 win, and we don't need to sacrifice one of our better cards to do it. Alright, so we're drawn to Geralt, Quen, Artificer, and Griffin Witcher Ranger. Let's get rid of the Artificer. Okay, we get Immortal Cavalry, so great. After we got rid of him, we get him back. That's perfect. We are going first here, which is always a distinct disadvantage in this event. Let's go with Adalia first. Into Immortal Cavalry. They'll go Necker. So why don't we steal one of those Neckers by going Amphibious Assault into more Immortal Cavalry. And that'll boost the Necker in the process. They'll go Cave Troll, which can steal our bigger Immortal Cavalry. It is a 7. We can steal either the Cave Troll or that Immortal Cavalry back using Lady of the Lake, so let's do that here. And we get the Cave Troll. I think that is definitely preferable. Now it's Haunt. And we can steal this Desert Banshee if we go Oneiromancy into the Griffin Witcher Adept. Now they go Apiarian Phantom. That will steal one of our 4s. It is the Desert Banshee. Now let's steal this Necker using Immortal Cavalry. And why don't we just give something a shield while we're at it? Okay, it's Penitence. We do not have a 2, but it is a Death Witch unit. So they will, get a decent play there. They steal our Lady of the Lake. And they get out their Beast, which will soon become the biggest unit, so this may not get all that big. And if we go Griffin Witcher Ranger here, and boost based on this row, then we will steal that Beast. And if you're wondering why a 7-point card just stole what was, at the time, a 6-point card, it's because the boost from formation does not get considered when the game decides if you're going to steal something. Alright, now it's Oberon. That will steal our Necker that we took from them. And okay, they're doing a decent job with those steals. But we can steal something back if we go Geralt, Quen into our other Griffin Witcher Ranger. And base this boost off of this row, we'll get the Apiarian Phantom. So that's awesome. Let's also transfer our boost from the Griffin Witcher Ranger onto something else, like, say, this Apiarian Phantom. That way, this is definitely the biggest unit out there, so that means Beast will continue to get boosted. And also, we can use this Griffin Witcher Adept to transform this Griffin Witcher Ranger into another Griffin Witcher Adept, giving us 2 more points and another shield. Okay, now they'll go Goliath, and no, unfortunately, that does line up for them to steal the Beast. And Night Wraith, they can steal a card and spawn in some other units. And this will be our last turn here. So let's make sure that we apply our other shield walls. Get as many shields on the board as possible. Unfortunately, it doesn't work on the Apiarian Phantom because it has Veil. So we'll just throw an extra one on somebody else who already has one. Then we go Renew. Into Roegner. And get a pretty huge boost in the process. Technically, if we transfer these boosts over and convert you, we get a few more points, and then just dish out some damage to somebody. So what is their last card? It's Rot Fiend. They will steal, they will consume, but it is not enough, so we will take the win. Alright, so going up against Nilfgaard here, and they'll go first. Okay, so we have Oneiromancy to get Roegner if we need him, because we don't have him in our hand at the moment, and we have Renew to play him again in round 2 or round 3. Let's get rid of an Artificer, though. And Amphibious Assault is another way we could get Roegner. Let's get rid of our other Artificer. Alright, they'll go Seditious Aristocrats. And let's go Oneiromancy into Operator. And use that. Get some more Immortal Cavalry out here on both sides. Alright, then they're going to lock it. I mean, that's fine. It's already done its thing. That will steal the Operator, though. So now let's go reinforcements on that Immortal Cavalry to make more of them. And steal this one back. Alright, now they'll go Thermon. And an Ardfiend Tortoise. And now let's go Adalia into even more Immortal Cavalry. Now they'll go Thanid Turncoat on Adalia and actually destroy her. And starting on their next turn, they will be able to deal some damage to this Immortal Cavalry, getting rid of its shield, which is unfortunate. That could potentially be reason to play an early Roegner. I think this is probably still a little too early. So let's just go with the direct Immortal Cavalry play here in that case. Alright, now they'll go with another Ardfiend Tortoise. And so now what we can do is either we can use the Griffin Witcher Ranger to steal either the Alba Armored Cavalry or the Seditious Aristocrats, or we can play Roegner, but he is 1 turn earlier than we would like to be playing him. So I think we do go with the Griffin Witcher Ranger in that case. And the reason why a 6-point Griffin Witcher Ranger just stole a 5-point Seditious Aristocrats is because the game does not consider the boost from formation when it determines whether you're going to steal a card. No pass. Wow. Okay, that means no Roegner necessary. We'll just win round 1 regardless. On even cards, no less. So that's fine. Alright, so we drew into Oneiromancy round 2. We got another Immortal Cavalry, that's great. And then we probably don't want to have this Griffin Witcher Ranger in our hand. We might prefer to play it through Geralt's Quen. And perhaps the same could be said of this Griffin Witcher Adept. So we can play here on even cards. In fact, we have at least 1 throwaway card. So let's start with the Artificer in that case. They'll go with Rico. I mean, if you really want to steal that, then sure. And so we could just pass here and say, forget about it, we'll just play in round 3. Or we could continue to try to bleed. I think we do prefer a longer round, though. So I think we do want to pass here and make round 3 as long as possible. Alright, so it's Megascope, Griffin Witcher Adept, and Cintrian Artificer, none of which are very good. So I think we dump you, and we get Roegner directly. Okay, so that means we are no longer relying on Amphibious Assault or Oneiromancy to get him. And I suppose let's dump the Griffin Witcher Adept, and get another one. Alright, they're going to go with Experimental Remedy, and ooh, they're going Immortal Cavalry. I love that. Don't care if they're on their side of the board or ours. The more shields, the better. And at least in this case, we can just steal them back. And their Imposter is actually going to be really strong when they use that, because of course we're going to have a ton of shields on our side. It's not going to outpoint Roegner, of course, but that is interesting. They'll go to Son Errant Knight. It does have damage, so that means it will remove that shield, which is unfortunate. And tell you what, assuming that they have Duchess's Informants to create a copy of one of our bronze units, let's actually go Oneiromancy here into Megascope to create additional copies of the Immortal Cavalry. That way, they have no choice but to create more of those. Because there it is, Duchess's Informants, so they've fallen for our trap. It all went according to plan. Sure, they'll steal it, but more importantly, it gives us 2 more units that have shields to power up Roegner. So now let's go Artificer. And there goes the Immortal Cavalry we get from Megascope. Alright, it's Brothans. Presumably another Duchess's Informants. So in one way, shape, or form, yes, they're getting more shielded units. And I prefer if it's Immortal Cavalry, because that means they're getting 2 of them. So now let's go Griffin Witcher Adept. And sure, we'll give a Duchess's Informant a shield, because why not? So I'm deliberately delaying the Kaedweni Cavalry as long as possible, because these are the most dangerous units for them to create additional copies of, because although they are shielded units, they do get boosted when the shield gets removed. That means that if they do steal them, they do still get some value out of that. That is clever right there. Send up the steal on the Cintrian Artificer. So now let's go Geralt Quen into a Griffin Witcher Adept to steal back one of the units that they took from us. It's Gascon. That's actually might be a good thing if we keep him, because he does not have a shield, and we could put a shield on him with Shieldwall. They'll go Furkar into Coup de Grace on the Duchess's Informants. Create another. That means they will be forced into creating another shielded unit here. And both of their rows are completely full, for what it's worth. Mostly with weak 3-power units that don't have any abilities. So that works fine for us. And it is very tempting to try to deliberately not steal any of their units, so that way they can't really play much of anything here. So why don't we go Amphibious Assault into Griffin Witcher Ranger. And boost. Oh, and technically there is the bug. It has it so that whenever you play a special card, you steal a 1-power unit. So that's why we got that Duchess's Informant there. But the same would apply to them. If they were to play a special card here, they would get a Duchess's Informant back, and then their rows would be full once again. Alright, it's Triss Telekinesis, with which they'll go Experimental Remedy. And they won't have room for that. No, it would have been Immortal Cavalry. Darn, we actually would have wanted them to do that. But it did work. We filled their row, so they couldn't do everything they wanted to do on that turn. Now let's transfer our boost from our Griffin Witcher Ranger over to Duchess's Informant. And now that means that Griffin Witcher Adept can transform this Griffin Witcher Ranger, giving it 2 more power and giving it a shield in the process. And of course, Renew we were planning on using to play Roegner a second time. We didn't need to play him in round 1, so we still have Renew. In which case, we can do something very similar here. And go with another Griffin Witcher Ranger. And get boosted. Like so. It was either that or it was another round of Immortal Cavalry, which may have been about the same number of points. Now it's another Duchess's Informants, but they can't do anything with it, so they're just handing us points here. And once again, let's transfer the boost onto a Duchess's Informant, and then convert a Griffin Witcher Ranger into another Griffin Witcher Adept, meaning 2 more points and another shield. And so now we'll play the Kaedweni Cavalry. It is a card that I wanted to delay as long as possible because, as I was saying, it's a card that we don't want them to create copies of on their side, since it does still get boosted when they lose the shield. it will steal one of their cards, which means they will have some space. So they will be able to play something here, in all likelihood. Alright, then it's Dandelion, which will steal one of those 4s. Except they don't have room for it, so I take it back. It won't. That makes him just a 4-point body. So now let's go with another Kaedweni Cavalry, which will steal another of their 4-power units, and we're getting all the ones that don't have shields. So I'm eyeing them on our last turn to use Shieldwall charges to make Roegner even stronger. Alright, it's Artaud for the last one. They don't have room for anything else, though, so once again, it's just a 4-point body. They still have their leader ability, but they don't have room for that either, so it's just for the sake of locking a unit. And they actually did make a good choice there, because that does mean we lost 2 points. So we have 12 points to make up here, but I think we'll be able to pull that off, because if we throw our additional shield wall charges on our units that do not currently have shields, and then we play Roegner, which they don't know that we have, because remember, we didn't need to play him in round 1. Let's just say we have a little bit of an ace up our sleeve. A little bit of an ace up our sleeve. So there's a look at the only Northern Realms deck that I've ever seen that works in the Irresistible Attraction seasonal event. If you liked the video, then make sure to hit the like and subscribe button, and leave a comment down below to let me know which other cards, archetypes, and factions you'd like us to experiment with next. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you next time.